may be changing in Virginia.
Now a local lawmaker is sponsoring 2 bills that could affect how the Commonwealth hits people who smoke pot. Dan Torchman has the story you'll see only on 3.
Going easy on marijuana could easily be considered a dangerous move in politics. Don't tell that to Virginia Delegate Harvey Morgan.
I really don't care. I mean, I've been here a long time. If my constituents want me to retire, it's okay with me.
Morgan chokes up talking about weed. He knows it might be political suicide, but as a pharmacist, this 79-year-old Republican from Gloucester says it's time for Virginia to decriminalize pot. So Morgan's sponsoring 2 bills. One would allow broad access to medical marijuana with a prescription from a doctor. The other would make simple possession of pot a civil violation, like getting a traffic ticket.
So you'll pay that fine, but you'll not have a permanent record as a drug offender.
That label attached to about 18,000 Virginians arrested every year for simple possession of marijuana. Morgan says it's unfair those nonviolent offenders be excluded from making a living in fields like education and government. Reciprocally, their arrest costs Virginia taxpayers money too.
This places a huge burden on law enforcement, prisons, and the judicial system.
At this point, I think we're floating, slowly sinking.
Sinking under the weight of criminal cases are clerk of court offices like this one in Virginia Beach. Workers spend at least 8 hours on every marijuana case filed in these cabinets. That includes setting up the file, assessing court costs, communicating with attorneys, organizing evidence, and then contacting city and state if a suspect is found guilty. Decriminalizing pot would only make a small dent in the day-to-day work here, but still.
If it's just a fine, we wouldn't have to notify the jail, it wouldn't go to the state police, it may or may not have to go to DMV. So there are a few things that we wouldn't have to do.
Aside from potentially reducing that burden on Virginia's overworked court offices, the bill is also projected to save the Commonwealth about $75 million every single year in policing and prosecuting fees. Still, consensus is the bills are dead in the water.
There is a 0% chance that there will be any decriminalization of marijuana.
Richmond Delegate Manoli Lupasi saying no to drugs a year after he sponsored a bill to toughen marijuana laws. He too remembers facing opposition, not from politicians.
One guy came in and he's like, "Man, do you know what you're doing, dude? I mean, do you really understand what you're doing?" And I was like, okay, I'm never going to put another marijuana bill in. This is it. It got killed. I'm done.
Lupasi equally confident Delegate Morgan's bill will get killed by Virginia's conservative House Courts of Justice Committee. Why?
At some point, you would have to run for re-election, and whoever decided to run against you, they would slap you over the head with it and, make it you would lose your job.
Note, Lupasi says it's personal politics that'll ultimately doom the bills, not whether there are any merits to decriminalizing pot or giving it to people with painful illnesses. Lupasi still acknowledging the drug's broad appeal, offering even more unfiltered opinion.
An awful lot of us, a lot of people smoke marijuana in their lifetime, okay? While the argument can be made that, half the people in the legislature, they smoke, or it might be even higher than that. Maybe it's 90, maybe it's 100%. Who knows? The point is, regardless, it is not universally accepted that the decriminalizing marijuana possession is what's in the best interest of society.
Marijuana has positively affected hundreds of patients.
On a journey with 2 bills that could leave any politician's future up in smoke, Morgan seems strangely at peace, taking a chance with legislation that's already drawn more attention than anything else he sponsored in his 30 years as a delegate. He thinks that's a good sign.
I think what I'm doing is the right thing, and I think that's why they sent me here. To use my judgment, Pardon me for getting choked up, but this is an important subject.
Now, the first big test for the controversial bills this week, they go before the Court of Justice Committee this Wednesday, and News Channel 3 has already been flooded with your 3 cents on this issue. About 80% of you say you'd support the bill. Dave posted on WTKR.com saying, quote, "It is about time that someone has realized how stupid it is to have our law enforcement officers risking their lives over a pot bust. If it was up to me, it should be totally legalized and sold over the counter like cigarettes." Jim also posted saying, quote, "Why not? I'm in the fire service and respond to hundreds of accidents and I've yet to respond to one where marijuana was a factor." But Joanne does not agree, saying marijuana is not harmless. It contains more carcinogens than cigarettes. Sucking smoke into your lungs is never a good idea. I want you to keep your 3 cents coming in. You can post them on WTKR.com or leave a comment on News Channel 3's Facebook wall. You can also leave a message on the comment line. That number is 757-227-6400. Dan Torgman, News Channel 3.